Hello and welcome back to the Doctor's Garage. So in this video today, I'm going to be telling you how much it has cost me owning this 2018 Land Rover Discovery 5 HSE Luxury. I'm going to be talking about the basic costs of things like tax, MOT, fuel, warranty, as this has become applicable now because this car's over 3 years old. And I'm also talking about those costs that I didn't initially plan for, so those unexpected costs that happen with cars and maybe a little bit more with Land Rovers, and then we talk about them towards the end of the video, so make sure you stay tuned for the whole thing. So a little bit of background behind this car. So I bought this Land Rover about 6 months old, and I bought it in 2018. I bought it from Land Rover themselves. It was part of their management team, Fleet Cars, and so bought it directly from them. Got it for a really good price considering these cars brand new were listing for about £72,000 here in the UK, and got a really good price considering it was only 6 months old. And I've owned the car ever since, and I can honestly say, out of all the cars I've ever owned, this has by far been my favourite. I absolutely love it. Despite all the things that I might say in this video, it has been by far my favourite car. It does literally everything, from being off-road in the countryside to being in the city. It suits every single purpose I could ask for, and I think that is the beauty with the Land Rover newer series in particular. They are very capable off-road, but also really good when they need to be for comfort and luxury too. So let's start with the basics. Let's start with things like tax, MOT. So tax on these cars is, in the UK, it's based on CO2 emissions, and this car is £440 for the year. It's not at the highest tax bracket, and the reason really for that is it's based on CO2 emissions, and this is the 2-litre engine that I have in this Discovery 5 rather than the larger engine at 3 litres, so the tax is a little bit lower at 440. Now, I originally wanted the 2-litre engine for a number of reasons, but really because I test drove the 3-litre and the 2-litre and didn't really feel there was that much difference. You get a bit more engine revving with the 2-litre at higher speeds and when you're towing, but in all honesty, it wasn't a big enough difference to justify the difference in MPG and fuel costs. Talking about fuel costs, with this car, I get around 32 to 38 miles per gallon depending on how it's been driven, so really not that bad for a car that weighs over 2 tons and can seat 7 adults really comfortably like you can in a Discovery 5. So fuel wise, I'm really happy with that. The 2-litre engine has been brilliant, but I would talk about why I would not buy the 2-litre engine again from Land Rover towards the end of this video. So other costs for this car, things like MOT, your standard costs, that's, you know, £40 every time it needs doing. Nothing exceptional there. It's never failed an MOT. It's been absolutely fine from that point of view. So next up of those routine costs is servicing. And with these cars, it depends on what engine you've got as to how often they need to be serviced. So the 2-litre engine, which I've got in this car, needs to be serviced every other year. The 3-litre needs to be serviced every year. So initially when I chose what engine, what spec to go for, the 2-litre was more appealing because it meant less servicing, less cost. Servicing these cars is quite expensive, so you're looking around £650 at the main dealer. Independent specialists are a bit cheaper, probably between the 400 or 350 to 400 pound mark to get an independent specialist to do that. And I'll talk a bit more about that when I talk about the warranties, and particularly extended warranties, and whether that's appropriate to get it serviced with an independent specialist and whether you still keep that warranty as well. So servicing has been something that has been a regular occurrence with this car. It's never had any significant problems. I've been quite happy with the Land Rover services that I've had. I'm actually going to get a service this month with an independent specialist, so I'll let you know how that goes on. If you want to follow my journey with all my cars, you can follow the Doctor's Garage on Instagram, and I post all about what I do day to day with the cars that I've got, including the Discovery 5, but also I have an older Land Rover TD5 as well. So now let's talk about warranty. So with Land Rover, you get a 3 years manufacturer's warranty that covers you for any problems in that period of time, something I've definitely used with some of the issues I've had in my car. But after that, it falls out of the manufacturer's warranty, and if there's any problems with the car that aren't wear and tear related, you're going to have to pay for them. That can be really expensive with a Land Rover, and so I went for the extended warranty option when this car hit 3 years, so a year ago, and I've paid for that for the last year. I've paid for the extended warranty. And that extended warranty is not cheap at all. That extended warranty is about £800 for the best version. You can go for one which is about £600. I think it's called Select and Premium. For me, I went for the more expensive option, the £800 one, because to be honest, I thought if you go for a lower option warranty, there may be some things that will find a loophole in. If you try and take it into the garage, it's got a problem, you might not be covered. So I thought, look, if you're going to pay for it, another £150, £200 to get it fully covered for everything was definitely worth it. I'm glad to say, but also not so glad to say, I haven't used that warranty in the last year, probably because of lockdown and COVID and not driving as much as I normally would have done. So I have paid £800 and not used the extended warranty at all, but it does give me peace of mind that if there was a problem, we would, be covered. Just falling into that period now, it's January, where I would be ready to pay that next year, and I am actually going to pay for that. I'm going to go for another year of extended warranty. Now, one of the things that I was a bit concerned about was when it was going into the extended warranty period from Land Rover, how does the servicing need to be carried out? Does it need to be done still with Land Rover dealerships? And I called the Land Rover warranty department and they said, you actually can get it serviced anywhere, providing they're a VAT registered garage and they use Land Rover genuine parts. So I've actually booked this car into a Land Rover specialist, as I mentioned, so I'll be taking it there this month. That's significantly cheaper to do, and actually, you know, there's some element of me that thinks that actually a Land Rover specialist garage may even do a better job than the main dealer. So that's the warranty, and that's something to think about, because if you are buying a Discovery 5 second hand and it is falling out that period, there are those other costs to think about. Do you want the extended warranty? If you do, you're talking £800, and that is if the car is less than 10 years old or less than 100,000 miles, you can go for the extended warranty option. I would recommend it because some of the costs that I'll mention now to do with the unexpected costs with this car have been very, very expensive, and having the warranty has made a huge difference for me when it was within the manufacturer's period. Now, the last of the routine costs is insurance, and the insurance for this car is, I think I pay around £600 for the year. It's pretty similar to most big 4x4s insurance wise, not much different. But one of the things that I've found recently is because this car now is outside of that 3-year period, so for those of you that are looking at buying this car second hand, you'll find that most of them include the fact that it's got a tracker, and you might assume it has got a tracker. Unfortunately, with this car, when the 3-year period ends, that subscription to In Control, I think it's called with Land Rover, the app that you get where you can remotely start it, where you can track it, see what the car's been up to, like journey history, that all ends, all that membership ends. And so in order for this car to still have a tracker, if you want to put it through insurance as being a tracked car, you have to pay for that subscription to carry on. And that subscription is split into 2 parts. You've got the bit which is the In Control, which is like remotely starting it, remotely heating your car, which is great when it's a cold winter's morning. Before you get into the car, it can be nice and warm. That's £30 a year, so not really much at all. Definitely worth carrying on paying for that. The tracker subscription is separate, and it's quite a lot more. It's about £300 extra to pay for that subscription too. So if you are thinking of buying this car secondhand, it's worth considering those options too. You don't need to have a tracker installed to this car. It does have one built in, so you can pay for that extra and extend your subscriptions too. And that'll be something for your insurance. You need to make sure that if you are saying it's a tracked car, you are paying for the tracker service to be on. Unfortunately, with friends that I know that have had Land Rovers stolen, thieves now do know where the trackers are in these cars, so often rip them out. So I know some people that have gone for like ghost trackers and different options. I was thinking actually of making a security video about Land Rovers in general to stop them getting stolen, because a few things I've done to this car to prevent it getting nicked. Let me know in the comments below if you're interested in seeing a video around that, and I can make one in the next couple of weeks. So now finally, let's talk about those costs that were unexpected, costs that I'm very, very grateful I had the manufacturer's warranty period for, and why I'm so keen to continue paying for my extended warranty. This is the bit that everyone's been waiting for watching this video, having read how unreliable Land Rovers are. And I've got to say, as much as I absolutely love this car and I would 100% buy a Land Rover product again, it has been relatively unreliable for a car that is this new, and there's been some pretty significant problems that have happened to it that have cost quite a lot of money. Fortunately, I haven't had to pay for them because they've been warrantable. So the first year that I got it serviced, it had an oil leak from the gearbox. That was quickly fixed by Land Rover, not a problem at all. About 6 months later, I had a hissing sound in the back of the car in the boot, and with that, there was a leak in one of the suspension cylinders on the air suspension that was leaking for some reason. I hadn't driven this car off-road at all, hadn't put it through any stress or strain, but anyway, it had an air suspension leak. Fortunately, covered by warranty, I actually called the little SOS button just here. A Land Rover technician came out to my drive and fixed it on the drive, which was really, really good. Next up, I had a bit of a bigger problem with the car. It had a bit of an idle problem and it kept cutting out, and that was obviously more significant. And actually, what I noticed with that, it was when the air conditioning was on and the car was put into drive but wasn't moving, or reverse actually, not in park. And the rev counter would just drop, and it would drop, and then it would cut out. And it would do this probably 1 in 10 times of starting the car. So it was a really big problem. I couldn't basically drive the vehicle at all. Took it to Land Rover dealership. At the time, they actually said I'd put petrol in the car, when obviously this car's a diesel. Transpired they did a full tank strip, lowered the tank, drained it, flushed it all through. Still had the problem, so it wasn't fuel. Even though I said I definitely haven't put petrol in it, they did say that initially. Fortunately, that wasn't the case. There was still an issue with it, and so it stayed with the Land Rover dealers at the time. And eventually, it all came out that the there was a crack in the engine block, and this was about 2.5 years old. The car had done about 30,000 miles and the engine block had cracked. No idea how it happened. They didn't give an explanation as to why that happens, but it did. And when I did a bit of research about it, and when I first found out that was the case, I found a lot of other people with Land Rover Discovery 5s from 2018 with the 2-litre engine had the same problem. They all had engines that needed replacing. And that was why I said at the beginning of this video, if I was to buy this car again, I would steer clear of the 2-litre engine, because it is notorious for having not only cracked engine blocks, but also turbos failing too. This car still has its turbos that were not replaced at the time. And that is one of the reasons I still pay for my extended warranty, because I'm thinking there's going to be some other issues around that may be breaking in the near future that are not associated with wear and tear, but are probably associated to that original issue that this car had. So for me, that was the biggest thing that happened. And fortunately, very fortunately, that was covered under the manufacturer's warranty just before it got to the 3-year mark. That repair was probably around £15,000 to have done, so I'm really glad that it was done under warranty. Apart from that, since that has been done, fingers crossed, there's been no other issues with this car at all. It's been absolutely great. Other maintenance issues that are quite expensive with this car since that point have been things like tyres. So tyres on this car, this has a 22-inch factory alloys, and at the time I thought that was a really good option. Yes, they look great. You know, the ride's really comfortable with them still. But the problem is your tyres are so expensive. There's very few tyres that will fit it, particularly if you want to keep the Pirellis that are naturally on this car. They're about £180, £190 a tyre, which obviously adds up when you're doing all 4 tyres, and you've also got a full-size spare as well. So that's been quite an expensive option to replace the tyres. It's quite expensive. I think if you're looking at cars in general, getting a 22-inch is like an inch too big when it comes to tyre pricing. It's also a size which they can't do on the mobile van. So if you want a tyre company to come and do it on your driveway and do it in a van, they can't put it on that spinning machine, whatever it's called, that puts the rubber on the alloys on your driveway. You've got to take it in. So another thing to consider. That's pretty much been every cost that I've had with this car. So overall, in the scheme of it, it has had some significant issues, but a lot of them have been covered under the original warranty. And why I'm so keen on saying, if you have got one of these cars that's secondhand, that's running out of the manufacturer's warranty, I would strongly recommend paying for that, because one repair will cost you that £800 easily with Land Rover, particularly with the labour charges that it'll probably need to get it fixed. I hope you've enjoyed that video. It's been useful, give you a bit of insight if you're thinking of buying a Discovery 5. I've done a lot of other videos on this car and also my other Land Rover Defender that I've got in my garage, so go check out those videos too. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.